Okay, welcome to Mahia Reads. My name is Kiersten Michelle.
I'm A.J. Cerna. We're a pair of fantasy authors, and here to talk about some lovely books that we would like to read as results in inspiration from our trip in Japan, or as we simply call it, books to read in Japan. We are heading to Japan soon, or we've already gone to Japan and come back.
Or we're in Japan currently. Probably when you're watching this.
It depends on when this ultimately gets published. That is up for future AJ and future Kiersten to decide. But we want to take an opportunity to take a look at some stories from Japan that either take place there or written there or have some inspirations from there. So I just thought it'd be a cool topic. So let's jump into it.
Cool.
Cool! The first thing is a classic manga, or I think it's a classic. I guess technically it's not a classic, but this is 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. He was a thriller writer. He does a lot of thriller / sci-fi type stories. This one it takes place at the turn of the century, the last century, follows a 40-some-odd-year-old guy who always dreamed of being a rock star, dreamed of being someone big, and it's just a normal, average Joe. I think he owns a convenience store. He takes care of the daughter of his missing sister, and he and a group of friends that he's lost touch with over the past several decades have to save the world from an impending doom and from a giant cult that threatens to take over the country. It is a decade-spanning story. We get lots of flashbacks to, I think, the 60s. It has a very Stand By Me vibe, or The Body, so Stephen King type vibes of growing up and reading pulp fiction and comics and stuff, and how that influences every aspect of their lives now. So it's a very, very beautiful, time-spanning story. Lots of great twists and turns, admittedly. I have not finished this yet. Like this volume, yes, I finished a long time ago, but I think I only got about 11 volumes in over a 23 or 24 volume story. So I need to go back, read it, and finish it. I think I originally bought the original version back in 2007, as most people would say it, not 2007, no one says that. And I'm excited to jump back into it. The art's great, the story is fantastic, and I'm just ready to give it another try.
My first book is one that I think a lot of booktubers theoretically have heard before. So it is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguch. I'm not as good at Japanese as him.
She had not grown up being a weeb, so that's the difference.
So this book is about a little cafe, and I also think it's perfect fall vibes. But it's a little cafe where you can go in, and I don't know how yet.
It's just it's not explained. It's a special aspect of the coffee shop.
But like, when you get the coffee, do you time travel, or like,
you
how do you
have to specifically request to go back in time, and then they serve you the coffee, and then like essentially it initiates from there, and then you're essentially you can't.
Like magical coffee, like Darjeeling is magical tea.
Exactly. Not really. I don't think it's the coffee specifically.
Okay.
But
anyway.
you can go back in time. You can't move from the spot that you're in. You can't move from the place. You just have to sit there and experience that spot however long ago you want it to be.
And you have to return before the coffee gets cold.
Yes.
I know that part. So he's already read it, if that's not clear. I want to read it still. I did buy this book specifically as research for our Darjeeling book. So I'm really curious to see how this goes. And it has a cat on the cover. You have to buy books that have cats on the cover. It's
I
a
don't
rule.
think there's a cat in the book.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Well, never mind. What if I just threw it? Okay.
Next up, we have Breasts and Eggs by Mieko Kawakami. And so this is a story that seems to tackle the hardships of being a childless, husbandless woman in Japan, and the social struggles that come with that. I've only read a little bit of it so far. I really like it. It takes place, I believe, in the early 2000s or late 90s, at least at some part of it does, in Japan, specifically in Tokyo, and it's about a woman and her family / friends and them sort of living life in there and confronting the societal issues that come with having no children in a society that values children. And not just children, but also having a partner. Breasts and Eggs. It seems like very depressing, heartfelt, but, probably a really good message. But I don't know. I haven't read it yet. All I know is that you got some big people like Haruki Murakami who are very much recommending it. So, has to mean something.
Well, speaking of that, so this is Haruki Murakami's The Strange Library. And I'm not even really sure if you could call this a novella. Because if you actually, so ready for this, like flip my book open, but it is written like this. I don't know if you, so this is, I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I'm gonna read the description because it's very short. A lonely boy, a mysterious girl, and a tormented sheep man plot their escape from the nightmarish library of internationally acclaimed best-selling Murakami's wild imagination. So I have no idea what to expect from this book, but it's so short that I'm like, and it's so interesting the way it's written. I'm really excited. I feel like it's very cool vibes, and it will be my first Murakami book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, interesting.
So we'll see. Maybe this is not the right one to start on.
Maybe it will be the right one because it's short. It's more accessible. Probably fewer meandering things.
We'll see.
So, my next book is also a Murakami book. I have mixed feelings about the author. So, this book I'm reading is A Wild Sheep Chase. I've probably read like 3 or 4 of them, of these books, of which you've heard me bitch about them constantly.
But he keeps reading them because he likes them.
I like aspects of them. There are some parts that are really cool and some parts where it seems like someone just really trying to stretch to be meaningful or stretch to be artsy or... And I think part of it also was reading what we talk about when we talk about running, which was his play off that one book of short stories by Raymond Carver, What We Talk About When We Talk About Love or something. I forget what the title was. But I remember he wrote something like, I run and this and that. I've been running for a long time. I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty sure it means something. And I'm like, I am bastardizing it. But it was very much, everything I do just has to mean something. I'm like, no it doesn't. You just like running. Get over it. I get that feeling a lot where I read him, where he's just like, this is important. I'm like,
he's not here for your philosophical bullshit.
I'm not here for your philosophical bullshit, Murakami. Some people love it. To me, it's just very much like he, you know, took a hit of a blunt and was just like, oh, this is so cool. This is deep. And I don't think it's always deep. But this book, I still keep buying his book. So clearly he's doing something right. I'll read the back because I never really know what to expect from these books. An advertising executive receives a postcard from a friend and casually appropriates the image from for an advertisement. What he doesn't realize is that included in the scene is a mutant sheep with a star on its back, and in using this photo, he has unwittingly captured the attention of a man who offers a menacing ultimatum. Find the sheep or face dire consequences. Thus begins a surreal and elaborate quest that takes readers from Tokyo to the remote mountains of northern Japan, where the unnamed protagonist has a surprising confrontation with his demons. That actually sounds quite interesting. This is the first time...
Murakami's really into sheep, because that one had Sheep Man in it.
Did it?
Yeah. Sheep are a thing.
We will not read into that, but we'll move on to the next book.
Okay, so the next book I specifically bought for our trip to Japan, and that is because look at this cover, and it's like starting to get fall vibes, even though it's gonna be like 80 degrees there.
Maybe fall. Maybe fall.
So this is the Traveling Crap.
The Traveling Crap. I wish we can get an animator to draw that.
Oh god. So this is the Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. And this is about a man traveling around Japan with his cat. It sounds like it's gonna end up depressing. Try not to read into what it's about.
Well, so it's just the cat's, it's from the cat's perspective, right?
Yes. So they're traveling together through Japan. Pretty much I think the cat's gonna die at the end. I'm kind of afraid the cat's gonna die at the end. But I'm really excited because we're going to Japan and I'm going to read this while we are traveling around Japan. And yeah, I love cats. I mean, who doesn't want to read a book about a cat or from the cat's perspective? I'm really excited for this one. There's a dog in my way.
I wish you could see what we're looking at right now, but she just put the book on the dog, who's just laying there. He doesn't care. Good boy.
Good boy, you are a good book holder. It's our new bookshelf.
So my next book is Bullet Train. You may have noticed a movie that came out about 1.5 years ago at this point, or a year ago, give or take.
I'm so bad at time.
Stars Brad Pitt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and a host of other amazing actors, based on a Japanese novel by Kōtarō Isaka. And it sounds like it's just like assassins and a crisscrossingness of many different perspectives, all kind of culminating and taking place on a bullet train in Japan. I like the movie. I did think it was a weird missed opportunity to have something set in Japan and have like one Japanese person in it. I guess I just want to see more of what the story is like and how maybe essential it is. Ooh, I just realized this here. There's a little art at the top that I'm assuming tells you
which cards
that the chapter takes place in. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking.
I'm assuming, yeah, that makes more sense in mine.
Yeah. Anyways, it seems like a fun, pulpy, good time with lots of wacha-wacha. That wasn't karate or anything. That was more of just crisscrossing of different, what's it called, motivations. And
is that what motivations sound like when they crisscross?
It's more just like they're crissing and crossing, and I'm hoping we get the perspective where you have characters we only know for a limited amount of time, but they have a specific mission in mind, and then they end up dead, but you're like, I felt for that person in that one chapter that they were the lead of. And then we see another perspective, and we see that happening, and I'm expecting a lot of that.
You're going in with a lot of expectations.
I have a lot of expectations.
This is exactly what I was expecting to read.
For those who have seen Bakano, the anime, it's kind of what I'm expecting, except more modern and more assassiny.
My last book that I'm going to talk about is The Devil's Flute Murders by Seishi Yokomizo. I am very excited because this book sounds like Agatha Christie in Japan. So it is about a man, I think, who is found dead, and then his family gathers at the house to figure out things, and more people start dying. I mean, it sounds like Agatha Christie. So I'm really excited. I love those kind of mysteries where it's like a lot of suspects, a lot of people dying in this closed space. So I'm really excited to see how this goes and what happens.
What is the mystery?
And also, I really love the vibes of these colors.
The covers are gorgeous. I will say, we're gonna have to
complain about the printing.
Yeah, seems pretty cool. What is this? What is this? Stiff as a board.
And that's after I loosened the pages.
Stiff as a board. And look at your approach to not break the spine didn't work.
Oh yeah, no, the spine. I apologize now for the internet because I'm taking this to Japan with me. This copy is going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
This spine is broken already, and that was me being very gentle with it.
Yeah. So she even used the method where you're supposed to, like, the most foolhardy of paperbacks or mass market paperbacks do not get spine creases if you do it a specific way. She did that, and this publication did not work. It's
still stiff.
So stiff. So pushkin press.
Shame.
You did great designer, but maybe find another printer or buy different paper. I don't know. The next book I want to talk about, I know very little about, and I was sold off of a couple key details. So I have a story that I'm going to be writing that is going to be kaiju mech inspired, kaiju mech in style, and I wanted a book that kind of dealt with that. And we have the archive Undying by Emma Mieko Candon, and as you could see, there's like this giant monolith-looking statue thing that looks like it could be pulled out of Xenoblade Chronicles or something. It's just so epic and gigantic in scale, along with the spaceship down here. And it says, when the robotic god of Kuonmo went mad, it destroyed everything it touched. It killed its priest, its city, and all its wondrous works. But in the final death throes, the god brought one thing back to life, its favorite child, Tsunai. For 17 years since, Tsunai has walked the land like a ghost, unable to die, unable to age, and unable to forget the horrors he's seen. He's run as far as he can from the wreckage of his faith, drowning himself in drink, drugs, and men. But when Tsunai wakes up in the bed of one man he should never have slept with, he finds himself on a path straight into the world of gods and machines. It is the first volume of the Downworld sequence, a sci-fi series where AI deities and brutal police states clash, wielding giant robots steered by pilot priests with corrupted bodies.
So many words.
Come get in the robot. That's what it says.
Oh.
Which, that's the line that sold me. I don't think there's going to be a lot of crossover between what is happening here and what's in my story, but I'm definitely going to be pulling from a little bit of this, probably eventually get back into Neon Genesis Evangelion, a bunch of mech anime, and this is a good start for now.
Okay, and that's it. Those are books with Japan vibes, written by Japanese authors. Some of them we will probably be reading in Japan. We're probably not, I'm like trying not to take too many physical books to Japan, so I'm probably going to choose 2 of my 4. But yeah, I'm so excited to read some books on our trip.
Me too, and by the time you've seen this, we will already be over there or back home. Again, we don't know when this is being published, but either way, I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Please subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you can get notifications when we post a new video, which should be around every week or so, sometimes more depending on how things are going. But yeah, let us know what you think, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Finger guns.